stand by. Hey everyone, welcome back to Quick Shots. I'm your host, Mick Chambers. We're here with Matt, Jared, and Robbie tonight. So if you were expecting to see Yaka, you're not going to get a chance to do that, but Robbie's going to be this great fill-in for Yaka. They're pretty much, what are you guys, brothers or something like that? I've never seen a picture. I've never seen a picture with him without you in that picture lately. So I appreciate you guys being here. So obviously we're going to talk about the Lancaster Classic coming up. We got returning barebow champion Matt Hudson, 2021. Lancaster Classic finalist Jared Mullis. And we've got Robbie Wessinger, who was the 2023 USA Outdoor National Champion. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we got three different perspectives here. So if you are already in here, could you please say hi in the comments so that we know that you're here? We see Rob and we see Ken. Again, thanks guys for being here. Let's jump right into it. We got about 20 people watching, so I want to make sure that we use this time wisely and get as much out of these guys as we possibly can. So first of all, Matt, you're the returning champion. What's the pressure look like for you?
Man, I don't feel any of it now. I mean, I'm sure I will there, but I'm just going to go in there and shoot. I mean, I don't see it looking any different as far as that, you know.
But so how about this? Before you got up on that stage that very first time, so last year, take me back to last year, you were about to get on the stage. You had won qualifications, and you're getting up on the stage. Any pressure, any nerves there? Because you seemed pretty calm.
Yeah, no, not really. I don't know why. I figured I would have been super nervous, but honestly, I took a nap for like 2.5 hours right before we went on stage.
That's.
I don't know. It's super weird. I thought I was going to be super nervous, but I wasn't nearly as bad. Kind of like Vegas. I thought that was going to be even worse, and it wasn't. I mean, I'm nervous, you know, like I just do a better job maybe at not showing it by accident.
I do. Before we got on, Matt was saying like, he wasn't sure, you know, if he was going to win. And, you know, probably a lot of people thought that was a surprise. But I think from the second that you got up on stage, honestly, you know, Matt from the push was talking about you and your shot and your form. And it was just so solid. It was like a rock. It would look like you got to anchor and you just knew this guy was going to hit gold. So it looked amazing. Looked amazing to us.
Thanks. Yeah.
You're welcome.
It looked good driving 90 mile an hour down the interstate on my way home too. I was watching and it was nice. It looked pretty good, man.
Jared, let's get to you. Thanks for stepping up and volunteering to be the next person. So, hey, you got there. You got up on stage, and I think that's kind of everyone's goal, isn't it? To make it to the stage.
That was my goal. Honestly, that was my goal that year for sure. That was my first year at Lancaster, and it was my goal to get on stage. And I can't believe I made it to the stage. Honestly, like I was mind blown that I made it there. But I didn't really have a plan after I got there. I never expected to eliminate anybody. I was just soaking it in because I'm a fan of barebow. I'm a fan of archery, and like Lancaster stage is the Super Bowl. It sounds like I have an echo. Can you guys hear that echo too?
Yeah, it's going to be
not too bad.
Not terrible. So it's not really bad. Maybe if you just turn down your volume just a tiny bit, that might help too. So Robbie, you've been crushing it all year. Especially in outdoor, right? And you just won the Midwest barebow championship, or what was it called? Indoor championship, right? So
Midwest Open.
Open. So you're getting prepped. You're ready. You're already shooting competitions. What's your expectations for this year at Lancaster?
I'm like, my goal is the same as it was last year when I was the top qualifier, is to step up and shoot 60 well-executed arrows, and that's it. We'll roll from there. And just like with eliminations, you know, sometimes you're the windshield and sometimes you're the bug. And when I shot against Matt in that last match, that was gold medal quality match. And I was just the bug in that case.
Maybe just remind us what happened there. What happened there.
I was the top qualifier with a 560 last year, and then went through my matches, the first couple matches, I was doing my job how I was supposed to, and I got up against Matt and I was doing my same job, and when it came down to it, it was like 113 to 112. So
Yeah.
I had shot my same qualification score pace over those 12 arrows. I did my job the best I could, and I just got beat. Nothing you can really do about that.
So
So Hudson was shooting great all day, and obviously we watched him continue that onto the stage, and he went to win it.
yeah, it's not as bad. Do you feel like it's not as bad when you get knocked out by the guy who goes on to eventually just be the champion?
So yes and no.
Or
I
is this,
mean, for me, it was more like I did my job. I followed my process for those 12 arrows in an absolute pressure cooker, right? Because everybody knows that the third match is the one that you need to get to the stage. So you know that that's all on the line, and I executed mentally and physically very, very well. So that was all that I was really concerned with. That was my whole focus all of last year, and I'm going to continue to do that this year. If I mentally and
yeah,
physically execute my shots well, that's the only thing that matters.
that's all you can control, right?
Mm-hmm.
Matt, what about you? So I guess there's no real asking you, would you do anything differently? I mean, are you preparing this year differently than you did from last year?
No, pretty much the same. I mean, I've just really just got a lot of arrows downrange. I mean, really, that's just it. I just shoot the shot that I've shot, and just kind of honestly, I just try not to even build off of that. I just try to maintain rather than do anything different. You know, like because really, whenever I come back from Lancaster last year, I tore down a bunch of things in my shot and tried to get better, and yeah, just struggled really, really bad. You know, not at Vegas, I didn't struggle, but after that, I struggled really, really bad. And Denver come up with I ended up kind of talking to him a little bit, and he was like, "Man, just maintain, rather than try to get better, because at that point you can't get. Not that you can't get better, because you definitely can, but just getting more consistent will gain you more points than trying to get up to be a better shot. So that's really what I'm trying to do. I mean, I'm just shooting a bunch of arrows. So nothing crazy.
Yeah, I mean, on average, what do you shoot a bunch of arrows? What does that mean to you?
Probably, 3 or 4 times a week. I'll shoot, I don't know, probably 100, 150 maybe an evening. And probably next week I'll ramp it up a little bit more, or the week after that. Probably a week prior I'll shoot quite a few arrows, like that, meaning a couple hundred maybe an evening. But not necessarily just a total arrow count, but just try to make good shots on as many arrows as I can shoot without being wore out.
Yeah, that's so. It's just the same question for Jared. I mean, you got to the stage. Now, what are you going to be doing different this year to get ready?
I think it's pretty obvious if you watch the video that mentally I just broke down. I didn't have a routine or a shot in place that I could fall back on. I was lucky to get there, honestly. I feel like I was really lucky. I was just naturally good at shooting a bow, so that's what I always did. I didn't have a process that I followed, nothing that I could, again, fall back on under pressure. So I really wanted to change that. Again, going into Lancaster as a fan of archery, that was my goal. So I reached my goal, and again, I didn't have a plan to go from there, and I didn't know how I was going to maintain even just my goal of being on the stage. I got a little bit of pressure from Lee when he, caught back up with me, and then I failed on my end by not being able to, he capitalized on his mistakes and his weaker shots. So the next year I came into it last year, the same thing, like, I'm going to mentally try to be a little more prepared and realize that, it's all about me. It's all about my shot. Not, I can't control what other people do. And I think I really wasn't even there yet last year. So I put my bow down after Lancaster last year. I shot my compound a lot this year. I didn't shoot any 3Ds, didn't shoot anything outside. I kind of focused on the home life and family and the boys. We've got 2 seniors that are getting ready to graduate, and their football careers are phenomenal. They're they both have college offers now. So I picked my bow back up about a month and a half, maybe 2 months ago. And I told myself, you don't have to have barebow. Barebow is not going to ever pay your bills. It's never going to, sponsorships aren't going to really do a lot for you. You're going to get a free bow. You're going to get some arrows. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're going to do this, you're going to spend time and money going to these things. Give it your all. Like, really figure out what your issue is and fix it, or don't do it. I mean, I love going to Lancaster. I love going to these tournaments, but I hate knowing that you put me against Robbie, or you put me against Matt, or you put me against John Dimmer. I'm going to break down mentally because I had nothing to fall back on. So I struggled with that. I recently got it figured out. I broke down my shot. I blueprinted it enough that I know that I can go to it every time. I know what my shot feels like. I know when I make a good shot, a bad shot. I know when I need to let down before I make the shot, which I've never had. That's a part of barebow that I've never had.
Yeah.
So, I made a commitment to myself. You're doing this for yourself, not anybody else. I'm not in control of how good other people shoot. I know that I have talent. I just needed to learn how to use it the right way, in a constructive way. And I needed to break it down, break it down to myself, prove to myself that I could do the same thing every time, and then have a plan when it comes time to do it under pressure.
Yeah, I think that's the goal of everyone, right? I think we got to get to that level where you always have that plan. I think that's not just in archery, but it's a good life lesson too, I imagine.
Right. And I struggled. It took me 3 years. It took me 3 years of shooting barebow to really finally grasp it. Like, a lot of people say, oh, we're shooting barebow, so you're never going to be perfect, but why not strive to be perfect? What is your perfect? If I can't be myself perfectly every time, then I'm not going to be good at it,
Well, let's pick that up. Perfect. So what's perfect, Robbie? So I know that a lot of you top level archers are now only when you practice, or at least this is what I'm hearing from some top level archers, is that you only count the ones that go outside the gold. Robbie, is that are you?
I don't really pay attention to that. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, my objective with practice is, I'm either, as of recently, trying to just find a tune, but like mentally, It's just that I execute all of my shots well. Last year, I had a really phenomenal year last year. I was a top qualifier at almost every shoot that there was. I didn't necessarily win, but I was at the top for a qualification standpoint in all but like 1 or 2 tournaments. And it was the least I've ever practiced physically. But like mentally, when I was there at practice, every one of those arrows was perfectly executed mentally. Like, it was batting 1,000% when it came to practice. I stepped up, I executed my shots mentally perfect. My form wasn't the greatest for indoor season. I fixed it for outdoor. So that physically there were some changes, but it wasn't just shooting tons and tons and tons of arrows. It was making sure that when you get into practice, you may only get to shoot for an hour, 2 hours. You need to make sure that every single arrow you cut loose is done perfectly up here.
Interesting. So
there's no excuses, right? Like, it needs to be done perfect, or you don't cut the arrow loose.
Really? Okay. Mm-hmm. So how do you do that?
So
how do you get to that state?
You just have to get really like pissed off enough that it's kind of like what Jared was saying. You get pissed off enough.
What I'm saying. Yeah.
Right. That you decide that this is what you're going to do, period.
Right.
And that, because like I went to 2 world championships in 2022. Okay. I didn't make the cut for 3D on eliminations because I missed 5 targets because I wasn't controlling my head. I went to Yankton. I love field. Field's my game. That's my jam, right? That's top tier for me. Yeah. And I didn't shoot well in qualifications, and then I got knocked out first round against Ryan Davis, the first match. And I was just like, I am done losing because I can't control my head. If I get beat, I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter. I lost to Hudson at Lancaster. That doesn't matter to me because I executed everything perfectly. But I am not going to lose because I didn't keep this in line because I can control this. I was just honestly fed up enough that I decided that from here on out, that's all I'm going to do.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome, Matt.
That's a hard commitment to make, but again, that's the same commitment that I made, and it's mind blowing. And I give you praise, Robbie, for having that at your age and knowing, and you surround yourself with good shooters and people that know barebow, anyways. So the fact that you found that when you did is that's awesome, man. I wish that it wouldn't have taken me being 36 years old, 4 years into it, and realizing that that's what it takes. But I'll never take anything away from you for that, man. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Matt, I want to talk to you about your mental preparedness a little bit. And it's a personal question. It's from me. It's what I've wanted to ask you for a while now. And that's, everyone says the exact same thing about you when they see you shoot. That is a strong, solid shot. And when I see you shoot like that, I think to myself, I got to be able to do that. I mean, it's so hard. It's so strong. It's so powerful. And I don't know what makes me say that, but, and then I feel like, Robbie's saying, don't let go until I have to. You're like a rock until it has to go off. At least that's what it looks like externally. Tell me what's going on internally.
Well, man, I think the key to that is just getting super lucky and having a whole lot of information out there whenever I got pretty heavy into this. With that being said, I mean, like, whenever I shot trad, which I shot trad for a long time, I found out about all the barebow stuff. So I started taking little things from it. And it was like, you got to have all these steps, blueprint and this and that and whatnot. And which was great. And I did that. And I struggled badly mentally because I had like 15 steps to do in my head. And then I ended up just moving on to something that was just super simple, like 2 or 3, and then it was easy mentally to get through rather than worrying about 15 different things at one time. Because it seems like a lot of people get hung up on having the blueprint, in 15 steps or so many that it's hard to keep track of. So just a super simple shot, and form is relative. Like, I don't think, obviously that doesn't make or break everybody. We all have different form. It's not Olympic archery, so whatever's most comfortable is what you need to do. And hopefully this is answering your question slightly.
Yeah,
but
it is.
Like whatever's comfortable is how you need to shoot, because things, when crap hits the fan and you're up on stage at Lancaster, like that reset or that like normal should be what you go to regardless. I definitely don't have a barebow form, I shoot with a super low anchor. A lot of things are just not correct, but it's all comfortable and it's what I go to, just my body naturally goes to every time. So hopefully that helps.
Who told you don't have a good barebow form? Who told you that?
Well, it's like the normal super high anchor, or you know what I mean, like corner of the mouth thing. Like I shot trad pretty good with a super high anchor, but I started flicking my nose a little bit and I got just mad about it. So I ended up watching this video that Jake put out on him having a low anchor. And so I just messed around with it. I was driving home from Foley and I messed around with it. And I was like, it was comfortable. It sucked because I have a gigantic crawl and, tuning sucks, but luckily I'm not very good at that anyway. So it didn't really matter. But, like it's just, that's just comfortable to me. So that's just what I'm staying with. And which sucks too, because it kind of rules me out for shooting, trad anymore. Like I tried to pick up a longbow last year and it just did not work out at all. Like nowhere near it.
Really? I find that hard to believe. I would think that they're complementary, barebow, and you go back to longbow and you're like, this isn't as hard as what I remember it being, but I don't know how you shot longbow before. Were you 3 under longbow?
Yeah. Yep. I just shot with like a high anchor, and, and I say it sucks. Like I can still shoot it okay, but I have to have a crawl, and it's like 3/4 of the tab on a, for like a 40-yard point on.
Okay.
It's just I just have because the distance ends up being so big from, my arrow to my eye that I have a giant crawl.
All right. So, Jared, how about you? Have you done any form changes this year to kind of get back into?
You know,
Um,
I tried to. Yeah. When I picked my bow back up, I tried to change my form. I tried to change my shot dramatically. I wanted to change everything about it because I felt like, again, if I'm going to do this, do it to the best of your ability. But I was missing that key. Do it to the best of my ability. So I ended up switching back to my form, my shot. I needed to be a little stronger in the back end of my shot. I needed to have a little more back tension. I fixed that. And it was easier for me to, again, blueprint that, like Matt said, in less steps than adding a different grip, a different anchor, a different this, a different that. It was just easier for me to say, hey, what you were doing was working, but you didn't know how to do it every time. And there was a few things that needed to change, I made a few changes. But I needed to learn how to do what I did every time because it was like guesswork. One of my things was my anchor. I would always anchor in the corner of my mouth, but I was
yeah.
anchoring on my lip. So I was anchoring here, here,
Yep.
here, 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 wherever I was at here. I mean,
Yeah.
get me on stage in Lancaster and I'm anchoring up here. I'm like, yeah, let it go. You know what I mean? So that was my biggest thing was just again fixing what I already had. I had the ability to shoot. I think I proved that. I just didn't have the ability to shoot under pressure because I had no foundation.
Right.
Which
I think we got that from you. I think we understand. Like, it's interesting that you keep going back to that. Like you're building your foundation. You're going back to basics. You're kind of
that's it. That's all I was really missing. I feel like I didn't know how to do what I was doing. So other than that, I really haven't changed a lot. I was shooting a different bow this year. Calvin and Dwayne are great people. If it wasn't for Calvin and Dwayne, I wouldn't be where I'm at. I would have never done the things that I had done. But at this point, I have another bow that I'm shooting a little bit better than I was that.
well. We're
at
gonna
this
get
point in
into.
time.
Let me come back around again. My next round is going to be about equipment and what we're doing for equipment this year. But I want to get to Robbie for a second. Now, Robbie, you mentioned that you finished top everywhere. There's nothing else for you to do. I mean, why would you change? Why would you even think about changing? So I'm going to assume that you're not changing your form or anything to do with your form.
Actually, so in the winter, I shot a much different style. I changed to more NTS style form in the spring as soon as we were done with indoor. I worked on that really hard all spring, and kind of like my debut was a little tournament in Colorado called Best of the Best. It was just a 3D. It was a little 3D tournament. You only shoot hunting bows.
Yeah.
Right. It has to be a hunting setup. So that was kind of cool. But it seemed to work well. And then when I transitioned to 50 meters, like it was super, super solid. My process was there. I worked with Yaka and Melnick when it came to my form stuff. And I mean, that's where the outdoor stuff took off. But I made a change last spring, and that's what I've stuck with. I'm very similar in that I've made a couple things change based off of just trying to make things simpler. I was getting injured with the other form. When I would release it, I was getting an impingement on my draw side, so I had to make a change because I don't
That's
like hurting when I shoot.
Yeah, that's interesting. Those two guys are I wouldn't say that they're similar at all in terms of technique. So how did you or do you look at both of them and go, hey, the here's what's similar.
Yes.
That's what I'm gonna.
Yes. So
Okay.
Melnick is a bigger proponent of NTS.
Yep.
But Yaka also knows NTS very well, and being able to bounce ideas off the both of them is huge. That's one of the only reasons that I shoot as well as I do. I have just a wide array of people that shoot better than I do consistently to pick from.
This seems like to be a constant like everyone. Yeah. So Matt mentioned that too. Like he's talked to Demmer. You've talked to, your two guys.
Yeah. Well, I talked to Matty, Melnick, Demmer. Yeah. I just a pile of people to bounce stuff off of.
Yeah. That's interesting. Hey, if you're in the comments, I just want to kind of, if you're watching, we've got quite a few people watching here. Don't forget to say hello in the comment section. And also, I want to propose a question to the people that are watching. One, do you shoot barebow? And two, are you using the NTS? Are you using a version of NTS to shoot barebow? So if you could just fire those into the comments, that would be really cool. So again, do you shoot barebow? Yes or no? I shoot barebow. No, I don't shoot barebow. And NTS. I got to get over to Matt. He keeps checking his watch, so I think he's got to go somewhere. So we got to make sure.
No, you're good. No, you're good.
Okay, I'm still good. I'm still good.
No, I got that.
We won't keep you too long. I'm just calling. So we're getting some people coming in and saying yes, I shoot barebow. Procoli, you know what? You got to shoot NTS. Christina's in the comments here. I do want to read some of this. So yes, I shoot barebow, but no way would I shoot NTS. Okay, there's a hate on there for that. Christina, I don't even know if you're still shooting barebow. You say you're shooting barebow, but I thought you were doing ollie now. This guy Burnaby, barebow and NTS are for nerds. Yeah, I have to agree with you, buddy. I have to agree with you. Okay. So keep them coming. I want to see that. Lisa, what's barebow? She's a barebow champion from Canada. She's trying to be funny. And Kenneth Hogue here from Rayton, Kansas. He's a barebow guy. Michael, yes, barebow, and yes, modified NTS. An instructor, level 4 instructor, so NTS guy. Sherry's a longbow shooter. But Sherry, do you shoot NTS with longbow? I'd be interested in hearing about that. All right. Anyway, so getting back to you, Matt, we're going to start talking about gear now. And I've got a couple questions for you. So First one I want you to answer. Can you buy points? Negative. Why? Tell me why you think you can't buy points or why you can. So I'm going to ask all you guys so you can get prepared. And when I say buy points for people who are listening can you buy equipment that's so much better, it'll increase your score, and you don't have to change your form or you don't have to get better at archery. You just spend money. And so Matt's saying no. So Matt, what equipment do you use, and what are you using for Lancaster, if you don't mind sharing? And and why don't you think that's helping you out?
So I'm shooting a Hoyt XD with the foam limbs, the axial limbs, and I'm shooting their weight, but and the AAE wrist and a biter plunger.
Nice.
So I had an old G2 that I had like super glued together with some like super duper cheap limbs that I shot really, really well. And I gave that away to some young fella from South Carolina or something I met at an ASA. So I'm sure it's floating around somewhere, but I shot that bow really, really good. I'm not going to say that I shot it better than I shoot now, because I don't think I was as good of a shot. But you know, I don't know. I mean, it's like, I don't think you can buy points for sure at all. You know, I mean, unless you spend it on a coach or calling somebody into helping you, I don't know. That'd be the best way to do it.
Okay. Well, then show up with a longbow. I'm going to be hard here a little bit, guys. Show up with a longbow this year. Let's see how you do. I mean, I'm just saying, come on.
Well, I mean, but a G2 isn't a longbow. It's still an Olympic riser. But so you may be able to. I mean, from what you say, you may be able to buy a little bit of points. I think you can buy a more forgiving limb. But you know what? I also got my butt handed to me by a fella at Vegas shooting some $89 Phantom limbs. So, I mean, I don't know, and he shot really, really good.
Yeah. So I know I'm being difficult with this question, and honestly, I think where we're going to end up here is it depends on what level you're at, right? I mean, at my level,
for sure.
Trevor Fielder can outshoot me with a longbow every single day, So, but he couldn't outshoot Jared last year, But they came up against each other. Jared, same question to you. Can you buy points?
I don't. It's hard. That's a hard answer because I feel like yes and no in certain aspects. I feel like if you have a lot of money to spend and you're new to barebow, spend your money on resources. Spend your money on coaching and some push videos, or reach out to some local coaches. Spend your money that way, and get efficient with a cheaper bow. Cheaper equipment. I think there is a reason why some equipment's $1,000 riser, some of it's not. That back and forth. But again, I feel like you give Robbie and Matt and I a cheap bow or the same bow, we're probably still going to shoot about the same as we are now. There's still going to be a bigger spread from this person because he's more established as a shooter. He has a better process versus me last year when I didn't have any of that. You know what I mean? Those guys are going to beat me
Still
every time
shocking.
because of that. Spend your time and money on resources before you really spend it on the high end stuff, because you might find out that it's not for you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So what's your rundown on your gear this year for Lancaster?
I'm shooting Uka SX 100 limbs. I switched to a 27-inch border riser. I've heard a lot about borders. I don't know anybody that's owned a border that didn't like it as far as his barebow risers go. I like to run a lot of weight on my bow. I like a lot of mass weight. My CD was a great riser. To get it to act the way I wanted it to act or the way I wanted it to feel, I had to run all that weight on the bottom of it. And I think that I was just a little weak after taking a year off. I didn't like the feel of the bow without that weight. And I think, I just really wanted to change. I wanted something that I could tune a little bit better than I could tune that as far as where I put the weight, a little more weight on the bottom, a little more weight on the top, or a little more weight out front. I would never take anything from CD. Calvin and Dwayne helped me a lot. They if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here. I really wouldn't. But at this point in time, I'm shooting that bow a little bit better. Granted, I haven't picked up the CD and shot side by side since I've made a lot of these changes and decided, like Robbie had said earlier, if you're going to do this, you can shoot. I'm shooting a lot of arrows right now a day, but I'm making them quality arrows. Before there was no quality to any of my shots. There was nothing that was repetitive. Now it's, my goal is to step up and shoot as many hard, strong shots as I can. And I'll be honest, if I catch myself slipping, that's about the end of my practice for the day. That's when I stop and I focus on what I did wrong,
Okay. So, the border's the one with it's the brass knuckle one. Is that
it looks like
the brass knuckle bow?
Front, yeah.
It's a brass knuckle
border
bow.
Tempest.
Robbie, what about you? What can you buy points or no?
I think you can, and I strongly agree with Jared that if you have a pile of money and you want to get into archery in any discipline, you need to find your resources first. Find somebody who knows what they're talking about. Have them teach you. If there's nobody around, there's plenty of good resources on the push, YouTube. There's coaches that you can, work with online. Equipment wise, obviously the higher dollar stuff is higher quality. It's going to last you a little bit longer, has the ability to last you longer anyway. And it's more adjustable. A GMX3 is more adjustable than an Exact. More places to put weight. You can mess with the limbs more, how the limbs feel, all that fancy jazz. If you were to compare a bow that doesn't have lateral limb alignment to a bow that does, obviously you're buying points there because you can then align your bow how you need to and make sure everything's center shot. So in that case, I definitely feel you can, but to somebody who is looking at a used bow for $400 or $500, that's a midline versus a high-end riser, you probably won't notice much of a difference.
Right. Okay, so what are you doing this year for Lancaster?
So I'm using a GMX3, whether a 25 or 27, that's still up in the air. I'm playing.
And there's a lot of Hoyts going around here.
Yeah.
Matthew's that on. Talk about a bow.
Yeah. So I'm using the GMX3, like I said, either 25 or 27. I'm using the wood Axias. gas recurve plus string. That's that
Yeah.
new material that came out. I really like how that feels on the shot. Biter plunger, AAE rest, and then same with the arrows as with the riser. We're not quite sure what we're running with yet. I've got about 5 different sets of arrows that we're going to mess with until we find what I like.
Yeah. Okay. So arrows is another personal question that I personally have that I want to know about as an indoor shooter shooting barebow. You know, are we still using fat shafts? Are we using thin shafts? Or what are we using now? Matt, Jared,
I'm using 23s.
Okay, so that's the fatter shaft, right?
Yeah.
That's as big as the Lancaster will allow. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. All right. And Jared, what are you doing for shaft?
I'm shooting
did you say?
Victory 3D HVs. I tried some VTAC 23s.
Yeah.
I honestly feel like, specifically in the spine of those versus the spine of the 3D HVs I'm shooting, I feel like the VTAC's tuned a little bit better for me.
Okay.
However, I'm scoring better with the 3D HVs, and those VTACs tend to stack up in the middle. And I was blowing knocks. And not a single time would it stick in the arrow. It would blow the knock and land on the ground. And I mean, you can fit 2, maybe 3 of those in an X, and you can fit 5 3D HVs in an X, you know? So at the point that I feel like if I'm going to be consistent that day, or it's going to be happening, I feel like I could shove a little more into an X with the 3D HVs. And I tend to aim a smaller arrow a little bit better. Personally,
okay, so a little bit more.
I like the smaller the arrow.
Okay, before we get to you, Robbie, before you kind of, I put you on the spot and make you choose today which arrows you're going to use. If we're in the comments again, if I could ask everyone, if you are in the comments, say hello first of all, and secondly, what arrows are you using? What are we got about 38, 40 people here. What kind of arrows are you using right now for whatever game you're shooting? Just go ahead and put those in the comments. Robbie, locking you down, man. If you had to choose today, what would be the arrow?
Sonic 6.0 standard diameter.
I don't know what
shaft.
that is. It's standard diameter.
It's a 6mm arrow, so it's slightly smaller than standard. Another thing to finish off my equipment, I'm using the Hoyt weight, and then I'm using Ramrod pocket weights, powder tungsten, and then tungsten on the bow. So I got about 35 ounces on my bow, which is relatively light. That's relatively light against, the likes of Demmer and Jared and Spanky.
Yeah. I'm just saying that's a high speed, low drag bow. That's an expensive rig you got set up there. That's pretty awesome. That's a nice looking, that's like the Ferrari of bows. Nice one. So I'm going to ask you about the standard diameter shafts. This is kind of another follow on question here. Now, I think Matt and Jared and Matt, you guys are using glue in points, but Robbie, are you using screw in?
As of right now, yeah.
Okay.
As of right now, it's a hunting arrow.
Demmer told me that he's using standard diameter with screw ins. And I said, why? He goes, because I tune a lot. I tune the bow a lot. So,
yeah, it's super easy to, buy points off of Amazon. You could buy hundreds all the way through 250, 300 screw in points, and you could really figure out what exactly you want to do with that arrow in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
So
I think, we went around, we learned about your bows and your configurations and your and I asked you a very provocative question was, can you buy points? Because honestly, you'll hear people say that, well, that guy's got a super great bow and that's why he shoots so good. And that's sort of the internet chatter that we kind of put in the back of our head and we don't listen to that. But, all you want to do as competitors, what I understand is that you're just working on your process and you just want a bow that's going to be work. And I've seen in the comments, and you guys aren't able to see the comments as well as I can, but the comment section is really good. When I asked that question, some of the people came up with, you can't buy points, but you might be able to buy confidence. So you have confidence in your equipment, right? If you got a crappy piece of gear, you don't really trust it, or arrows that you don't know if the knocks are going to stay on. If you've got good quality equipment, maybe that confidence level builds up. And honestly, it's what you guys have all been saying is like, I need a system. I need that form. And then, I mean, Matt exudes confidence. Robbie, you got great confidence. Jared, I know you for a while. You're overloaded with confidence. So that's what it takes to be a champion, right? And Matt, I know you're smiling, but dude, I just, I know I will pick on you for a second because it makes me laugh when you say I don't have good barebow form. I just think that because last year we were all singing your praises from the sidelines. I'll tell you that while we were watching it. And I thought that you did really well there. So anyway, but I think it's a good point to kind of sit back and say, does this really matter? Does it really matter whether I have great equipment as long as I'm really confident? So I'm going to ask you, what is your confidence level? I'll put you on the spot again. I don't care. This is my show. I'll do whatever the hell I want. Matt, are you going to win this year, Lancaster? Are you going to win the Lancaster Classic? Okay.
I mean, there's a chance for sure.
All right, Jared, are you winning this year?
I have a better chance this year than I did last year. I'm
right.
mentally a little more prepared. If I do my job, I have no doubt saying that I'll make the cut. That's the first goal. The second goal is to get to the stage. And my next goal is to shoot strong shots. It goes back to what Robbie said. My main goal is shooting every arrow the exact same. Every one of them has $8,000 at the end of them at that tournament. You shoot every one of them with your ability and as strong as you can. And with a purpose, then I think everybody has a chance of winning. It's the people that get to do that. I'll be honest, I envied guys like Matt Hudson. I mean, he walked up there in first place. And it looked like it didn't even bother him, That wasn't me. I let it get to me a lot,
Yeah.
But that was my goal. People like that are what made me really break down and get pissed off enough that I wanted to fix that.
I got that. Robbie, last time I talked to you on my show, you were filled with confidence. You're like, I'm winning this. I don't get in it unless I win it. How are you today? What's your confidence level for winning this year?
I don't remember saying that, but
I was paraphrasing.
that's a hell of a paraphrase. I'm just gonna step up and shoot the best shots I can mentally and physically, and I'm gonna trust that, God's plan is gonna fold out how it's supposed to.
All right.
You know what I mean? That's my whole approach.
Yeah. Train hard and put your faith in the Lord, and things will go good.
That's it,
guys. I want to leave time for our people who are listening. I know they have a lot of questions. I am 100% sure that someone's going to ask about target panic. I hate to bring up. I'm gonna stop everyone right there. I'm not gonna ask these guys as they go into Lancaster what they're doing about target panic. That's the last thing I want on anyone's mind. I know you don't mind. But let's leave the target panic out today. Every one of my episodes has something about target panic, and then we get off on a tangent. So, but any other questions other than target panic? Leave those.
Nick, you're talking about it like it's contagious, man.
I am talking about like it's contagious.
It's just a decision. It's just a decision. That's all it is.
I know, but honestly, I know. I get what you're saying. I know we go down this rabbit hole all the time, and then I'll say, Matt, what do you think? And then I'll get comments. Well, what about this? What about when you go to, so it's just, I want to see if there's other questions other than target panic, because we always end up on that one. I do want to ask, though, as we're starting to put in some comments in the comment section or questions in the comment section, I want to touch on, I think Robbie or Jared said, first place going into the final shootout. Is it better to be on the stage and get used to the lighting, or is it better to come at the very end? Matt, what do you think?
Say it again. I didn't hear.
So, sorry, are you guys having a hard time hearing me? You okay?
No, you're good.
Okay.
It was over here.
Okay. Okay. So, is it better to get up on stage at the very beginning and get used to shooting, or is it better to come in at the very end and just have to eliminate one person to win the final thing?
Well, I mean, it's definitely better to come in at the end and being guaranteed second for sure. But
Right.
I think the lighting in there was awesome. So, like, even behind stage in the practice thing, it was super duper similar to being on stage. But man, you can really shoot really, really well up there, or you can see well. I don't know if you're not always going to shoot really well, but you can see really well up there. It was definitely different kind of lighting. But after one or two shots, you should be able to make the adjustment because it definitely isn't always who's the best shot. It's who can correct their mistakes the fastest is who's going to win. So I think that I don't know. After a couple of shots, you should be able to figure it out.
Jared, what was your experience?
The lighting actually was better on the platform, at the show than it was in the back room. I think, it was a little more intimidating in the back room because it was a light on you and a light on the target. That was it. On the stage, you could see a lot more people.
See, I couldn't see
in my
anybody.
experience, I don't know what it's like to come out in first or second. The bank says that it's a heck of a lot better if you do that for sure. Again, I mentally beat myself up because I didn't have a plan and I didn't know anything besides the fact that I would have had to shoot through 6 people to get to second place. And I just didn't have a game plan to do that. That wasn't in the books. That wasn't in the cards. Maybe I needed to suffer a little bit and really decide to change, make that commitment. Again, back to Robbie, and I'm sure Matt's the same way. It's all about strong arrows. With me, I felt like I was shooting strong shots all of my archery career until I realized I watched that video. Like, that was really the game changer for me. Like, I've got to figure this out because, in my opinion, that's a fail because, yeah, I made it to the stage. I'm excited that, there are a lot of people that don't get to do that. But
that's right.
At that point in time, I should have been able to do more. I should have been able to fall back on something, and I had absolutely nothing to fall back on.
Robbie, what do you think? You haven't been there yet, but what do you want to be? You want to be first place, or you want to be coming in and being like that hero that goes through everyone?
I would so much rather end up in first place. There's not nearly as much stress, right? Because if you're in like the last 2 there, you're either making $4,000 plus contingencies or $8,000 plus contingencies. Either of which, to somebody who's broke like me, I would happily walk away with that over a span of 3 days. The other part of that is there's so much of this that's luck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's so much that's luck. In the indoor finals last year, none of us were shooting like particularly well in those top 8 that shot in Louisville for U.S. indoor finals. And I got lucky every match. I won every match in a 1-arrow shoot-off. Statistically, that should not happen. So that's 3 matches. So now if you have to shoot through 6, I mean, that eventually luck runs out. I mean, it's possible, right? But at some point, luck does run out.
Yeah.
So
hey, it's. I mean, there is that bit of
I
luck,
would so much rather have to shoot 24 arrows or 12 arrows to the best of my ability than have to shoot another however many 40, 50, 60 arrows.
Yeah.
To the best of my abilities.
Yeah, I think is that a common with Matt and Jared? Do you agree with that? You'd rather not leave it to like a small amount of arrows to decide a championship?
I mean, obviously, I think that's the smart decision. Everybody would make that decision. It's just it's different when you know how to shoot those arrows, whether it's 5 arrows or 70 arrows. I don't know what it's like to be in that position. I wish that I did. I just, this year, my goal is honestly, I want to make the stage again. I want to give myself an opportunity to prove to myself that I can make strong shots under pressure. If I get 8th place, I get 8th place. I'd be ecstatic with making the stage. It doesn't even pay for your gas home. You know what I mean? But for me, that is a win. And I think if I can go there and shoot nothing but strong shots, I'll make it I'll make it. I think I will. That's what it comes down to. Shoot to my ability.
If this doesn't work out, you can always be a singer, though, Jared. So you got that at least. Not a lot of people got that singing ability that you have. I mean, so that's pretty nice. I don't know if everyone knows this.
While you were shooting, by the way,
dude, you
should sing for us then.
Hey,
yeah.
What's that, Matt?
You should sing for us then.
Oh my gosh, he's such a good. He's got a great voice. Seriously.
Well, you like Backstreet Boys or NSYNC? Which one do you want?
No,
yeah, I'm done.
I'll hit both of them. Okay, let's get to some of the questions there in the comment section here. So I'm going to go through these. I'm going to run. I might cherry pick some. So if I don't get to you, leave your question again. Maybe I'll swing back. So Davenport, love you, Mike Davenport. If you have to make one shot, bull, elk, or whitetail, or something like that, or Lancaster, what are you thinking at that moment? Like you got one shot. You got to make that shot. Like if it's a hunting situation, you got a one shot, one kill, or you have to make that final arrow to go on to win. Who wants it? Who wants this one?
I focus and execute. That's it. I focus and execute. You stare a hole at what you want to hit and you execute to the best of your abilities. Doesn't matter how much you're shaking. If you stare it down and you make a good shot, it's going to go as good as it's going to go. Period.
Okay. All right. Let's move on. So Chris wants to know, do you believe the rounds being shot online by each of the top shooters is to psych out other competitors? I don't know what you mean by that, Chris.
He means posting scores online.
Oh, posting score. Oh, okay. Do you believe the round shots online? Okay, yeah. Posting stuff online. Sorry, thank you.
I want to answer that one because I got called out on that today.
Okay, let's hear.
Yeah, it's not to psych out anybody. I post scores because I'm proud of what I'm doing. I'm proud of the work and I'm proud of the progress that I'm making with myself. Again, you can log on YouTube and there's 700 or actually 900 and some thousand now people that have watched me fail and make bad shots. So if my friends can watch me make good shots and all those, that handful of people that were there trying to help me get through what I was struggling through, those are the people that are going to be proud of you and proud with you when your shot comes together. I got called out on that today that, hey, you're being a little cocky. And I'm not being cocky. I want the best for everybody. I want everyone to go to Lancaster shooting the best they've ever shot. Again, it comes down to how bad do you want it? Are you willing to go there and just have fun? Do you go there to win? I know that this year I'm going to do what I'm doing at practice. It's 20 yards, it's 18 meters. It's the same target, same bow, same shooter, same release, a little bit of pressure. I don't think that I'm going to shoot the scores. I hope that I shoot the scores I'm shooting in practice at Lancaster. But even right now I'm at the top of my game, the best that I've ever been, mentally, physically, everything is the best. My family life, my world is the best that it ever has been. So I'm going to share that with people because there's genuinely friends out there that love to see that for you. And that's why I'm posting my score. It's not to intimidate anybody. I've been intimidated by several people.
Yeah, good answer. Anything to add? Anyone else on that? Okay, let's move on. I like this one. Here's a technical question or a training question. How do you develop a strong bow arm? And everyone knows, and maybe you guys disagree, but a lot of people say that it starts with the bow arm being as steady and strong as possible. Matt, what do you think? You've got a solid shot, man.
Man, I don't know, but I definitely think that's carried me through, a whole lot. I've just gotten lucky and had a good bow on, I think, just by accident. But to answer that question, I really don't know. I don't know. You're going to have to find somebody who knows a lot more about archery than I do. I'm just getting super good things,
man. He's got forearms the size of a thigh. He's got big old arms, man.
I don't know. I literally try to. Yeah, I try to put the tip of my arrow through the target. I push to the center of the target. So
nice.
That's all I know to say.
Anything to add? Anyone else on that one?
I agree with Hudson. You just push it to the middle.
Push it to the middle.
Make sure that front shoulder's down and it's reaching to the middle as best you can.
Nice.
The whole shot.
All right, Lisa, who's again, she's Canadian barebow. She's won quite a bit of stuff too. What's cool and new equipment wise that they are excited to see at Lancaster? Is there anything new coming up on equipment? I think we can let everyone answer this question. If you think you got an answer, go ahead. Whomever who wants to start, Robbie, go ahead. What do you think? Anything cool or
Well,
new that
I
interesting?
think this
Gas
is the
strings,
first,
you're saying?
the gas strings. I think the gas strings, and I think the new Hoyt system, the GMX3, it kind of dropped. They dropped it right before Outdoor Target Nationals. Only a couple of us had them at that point in time. They were just getting heavily advertised. I think this is the first tournament where you're going to see a lot of people with those bows out there. So hopefully more people get to try them and to shoot them. I love how they feel and shoot compared to the Exceed.
Okay.
Yeah, and that barebow weight is super nifty. You can adjust 20 to 40 ounces off the front of your bow just with the unscrewing of a jar lid.
Nice.
So.
Okay. What? Anyone else? Anything new, exciting?
You don't want
that
me
you're
to
looking
answer
forward
that one.
I don't keep
Okay.
up with a whole lot of it.
Okay. All right. Hey, you know what? I want to give a shout out to Christina, who's in the listening to Christina Percoli. She's made it to the stage. She's done, what Jared, you and Matt have, well, not won it, but she's been there, right? And I think it's better to come out at the end. I just want to acknowledge that she's communicating a lot here, so I think that's really good. If you're in the comments, Christina's a good person to listen to about that stuff, and has an excellent coach, by the way. I have a follow-up question to this too. So Ryan wants to know who's going to Vegas this year after Lancaster.
I'm
That's
right
it?
here.
Just Robert.
I'm right here.
Are you going, Matt? Too? Did you
Yeah.
say you're going?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so you're thinking about it, Jared?
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So what is more prestigious? Lancaster or Vegas? Matt.
Honestly, like Lancaster was probably more fun. Vegas seemed like I'd never stopped walking. Like
Yeah.
I feel like I walked for 1,000 miles that weekend, and plus I didn't have a hotel room. I slept on a cot in a random guy's room, so I definitely like Lancaster better.
That's
As far
awesome.
as that goes.
Dude, it's so much easier to get to Vegas than it is to get to Lancaster, PA. They need to, I don't know. To me, it just seems hard to get there. Have you been, Jared? You haven't been, right?
No, but I mean, I would pick Lancaster over Vegas as far as more prestigious,
Okay.
I mean,
Robbie,
it's the
what do
Super
you,
Bowl of what we do.
yeah, Robbie, what do you
I
think?
would agree that Lancaster would probably be more prestigious, although I think like winning Vegas, I don't want to say takes more skill, but it takes less luck to win Vegas. I think it takes less luck to win Vegas than it does Lancaster, because that's straight qualification score. That's 90 arrows that you're doing your best on.
Yeah, just
And
consistent.
in head-to-head matches, you had Hudson and I going back and forth. I never got an opportunity to get on stage. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And
Yeah. No,
on course
we
at the
all
weekend,
watched it.
I was one of the high shooters there, whereas you had
Yep.
people that were seated way lower up on the stage that shot
The
around
layout is
100.
crazy.
Right. So the prestige is definitely there with Lancaster. I just feel like you don't necessarily pick the best archer. At the end of the day, the winner is the winner. They are the best archer.
That's Matt.
But
He's
like,
not talking about
there-
you. You are the best.
There
You're
were
the best.
there were people that made the stage that didn't shoot over like a 102, 103 in their matches.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's just over a 25 average. So there is a lot of luck that goes into it.
Yep.
It's a lot more
Yeah, and
head
that's
games
just-
too. I feel like
that's
at
the
Lancaster.
format.
Yeah, 100%.
I had to shoot
Yeah.
against
Well,
the
that's
longbow
that's
guy.
part of the
It
game.
was-
That's part of the game.
100%. Yep.
Hey, but there's luck in the flights in Vegas. I mean,
sure,
for the
but
lower
I'm
shooters, the lower shooters. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
just
not
saying for
playing
the
in
flights.
flights.
I
I
know.
don't think
I'm
Hudson's
just
playing in flights.
Well, do they still have that? I thought they'd done away with that or something.
No,
I thought it was just
no.
barebow championship.
Barebow flights is huge.
Oh, okay.
Huge.
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, they still do the barebow flights.
First,
I don't know.
First flight might make more money than us.
Yeah, Yaka's wife made more money than he did. He did in the barebow flights.
She deserved
Okay,
it a lot more than
yeah.
he did,
Yeah, for sure.
especially in Vegas.
This is Christina. I'm putting this up, but this is a tough one. And Demmer kind of had last time he was on. He went through this too. So who are the guys that are making it to the stage at Lancaster this year, like men's? So what about this? How about
I don't even know who's going.
Yeah, good luck,
okay.
guessing.
I haven't even looked at the list.
Okay, well maybe we'll eliminate that then.
I'll tell you what, if we all shoot our strongest shots and we don't have to shoot against each other, probably 3 of us will do it. They're confident in doing it. They're capable of it for sure.
Again, that's the problem that Robbie's talking about. He had to go up against Matt and didn't win, and so he didn't get to go. Yeah. And those two guys are strong shooters, right? And Matt goes on to win it, which was the right thing. But
I know who won't be on stage this year, and that's Dwayne Martin because he's not going.
Yeah, I heard that.
I lost to Dwayne. I lost to Dwayne my first year. He beat me by like 5 points. I shot a 1.
Right, he spanks us like kids, though, dude. He's like a grandpa, and he's spanking us like little children.
I know. I was funny. Like 2 ends in, I'm like, oh, I got this guy. And then third end, I shot 11, 10, and then a nice big Demmer 1. I was like, oh no.
Hey, that's what happens. You know, you gotta concede to your elders. That's right. You know, you guys are all pretty young here. I think Jared, you're the oldest in this group, or how old are you?
I'm 36.
And Matt?
30.
30?
32.
32?
Jeez, I'm never the oldest guy in the group, Mick.
Robbie, that's why I'm calling you out right now. Robbie, are you even 30 yet?
No, I'm 25.
You look at all the years you got left to go and just kick the crap out of all these guys. So I don't even feel bad for you, man. You got like 60 more years to get there. Look at Stonebreaker, man. He's crushing people. Look at Spanky Brooks this year. Spanked all of your butts. Like crushed you. Anyone that went to Outdoor Nationals looked like they shouldn't even have been in the same room as Spanky Brooks. I'm just saying.
Spanky's just the coolest guy, too. He deserved it, though, man. He works his butt off. He shoots a lot.
Oh, yeah.
He shoots a lot.
I love this one here from Nathan. Do you have your Kubota shirt picked out yet for the finals, Matt?
No, I don't. I probably won't wear another one.
Yeah, you took a lot of heat. So any kind of, I mean, they talked about it a lot while you were on stage. But you work for Kubota, right?
Yeah, and I had to buy my tractor.
Of
Not
course
free.
you did. Yeah.
That's so lame.
Employee
it is. I agree.
So lame.
Well, I think John was supposed to do some kind of petition or something like that to where they had no choice but to give me one, and I still haven't seen it.
You have 300,000 views of your video. 300,000. That's probably more than any commercial they've ever done. No, I'm not. Probably not. Kubota's pretty big company. They're a big company, man. You never know. I don't think they do. I thought I saw them in like a college football advertisement or something. But anyway, great company. I'm glad you got a good job there. Let me see. Tom, while aiming, blurry arrow tip, focused on target, or focused on arrow tip, blurry target? Good question.
Focus on arrow tip. Target for me because I can't see very good. I think that's why.
Okay.
Yep.
Jared, old eyes. How do you do it, old eyes?
Hey, I'm not that old, bro, because I can see the X. Man, I got pretty good eyes. It's definitely blurry arrow tip. Focus blurry target. Arrow tip.
Really, and Robbie's nodding his head. So Matt, you're alone on this.
Yeah.
So maybe if you want to make it to be a champion in Lancaster, you need to focus on the arrow tip, is what I'm hearing. Okay.
I get yippy when I focus on the arrow tip and trying to keep it still is when I get yippy. If I just stare at the gold and execute, I'm super calm.
Yep. Anytime if I'm not just checking it every other shot, I get the same way. Every once in a while, I kind of just wink and check it. But if I focus on the arrow tip, I'm out of there every time.
Yeah, David here. I was gonna get to this anyway. I want to know who you guys are sponsored by, if anyone, and just a quick shout out. We're getting to the very end here. Guys, stick with us. I want to get through a few more questions, but I want to let these guys at least mention if they have any sponsors whatsoever. Give a little shout out there. So Matt, anyone that's in particular that's
Just Hoyt.
just Hoyt, eh? Just Hoyt.
Yep.
Just Hoyt. Yeah, Hoyt's a good one. Robbie?
So I'm sponsored by Hoyt, Easton, Gas, XS Wings, Ramrods, AAE. I know I'm forgetting one. Fairweather. Fairweather and Jaeger.
Yes. Nice.
Yep.
Next. So Jared, what do you...
Man, I'm sponsored by my OnlyFans. Y'all can find the link at the top.
I knew you were going there, dude. I know.
Man, I didn't. I've never had that long of a list of sponsors, but I didn't sign. I had a couple opportunities for a couple contracts this year, and I didn't do it. I'm doing it for me. Obviously, any money saved is great. I'm doing it for me. I don't want to have that pressure on me. That I need to perform to earn the things that I'm getting. And I'm not saying that anyone that's sponsored feels that. I know that I felt that. Again, it comes down to me. I need to do this for me. And that's where I'm at. If I perform like shit, then it's my fault. I can blame myself.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's always nice to get a little bit of something.
Free stuff is nice. Again, follow that link at the top.
Preferred footwear for stance, boots or sneakers. And this comes from Tracy Yost with the most. They are a big sponsor. So you're using running shoes, the Nikes. Nice.
That's right.
They're
at the outlet store. $50 at the outlet store, baby.
Look at that. You got nice kicks. Those are nice.
Brunt work boots are absolutely phenomenal.
They are
to shoot in. They are phenomenal to shoot in. They're real soft, flat at the bottom.
So oddly enough, I really got into that like a year and a half ago, and like a zero drop heeled shoe was way better to shoot in. I just didn't feel like I was rocking forward. So like I wear an ultra shoe because they have a zero heel drop. So I don't know that matters, but it's a confidence thing, I guess, for me. So
the year that I made it to the stage, I shot in cowboy boots at qualifications, and then I switched to tennis shoes for the stage. It was pretty bad.
I'm just lazy, and I don't change out of my tennis shoes.
That's funny. It is interesting. I do love when Demmer dresses up and then makes the barebow stand out. I love that. So when you guys are a little bit more, standoutish. And I just heard, I was prepping for this, and I was watching Robbie's indoor championship, and the announcers were, they could not say enough nice things about barebow, and how, they wish that they shot barebow because A, it's really, really hard, and B, they seem like a fun group. Okay. Mick, you going to Lancaster? The answer is no. Mick, you going to Vegas? The answer is no. Guys, I'm putting two, and I'm going to take a second.
Ever?
Yeah. Do I need to? This is what I do for a living. I do this. You guys shoot bows.
I'm
not going to pretend to be
this?
No.
What?
Yes. Yeah, I make you know how much money I make on you guys? It's astronomical. I was telling my kids the other day. I was like, I got a check from YouTube.
Somebody should.
I told my kids, I showed my kids, they're like, hey, you can make money on YouTube. I said, yeah. I showed them my check for last year. It was, cause it comes once a year, $250. But I throw that right back into the show. I don't go out and buy a yacht with that $250. I actually throw this back into the show, get a mic and everything. So anyway, but hey, I'm paying just everyone. I got 2 girls in college this year. As soon as that slows down, I will start to travel and do some.
I wonder how much money the 2022 Lancaster video has made with as many likes and shares and views as it has.
Oh my
God! I wonder how much that makes. Honestly, I'm curious to that. I got a lot of friends that do social media stuff that make decent money actually making videos.
Yeah. Oh, Rod Jenkins is in. Hey, Rod. I didn't see you there. I would have said hi. Watch the grandpa comments. Rod. I love Rod, man. He is one of those great instructors that just gives. He's so cool too. He's like one of the coolest guys ever. So love Rod Jenkins. Hey, Rod. There's so many good people. And Santo is online here. Longboy. Just a quick shout out. Sorry, guys. Pause for a second on barebow. A shout out to all the longbow outlaws. I think that's a cool idea. Taking your longbow and shooting it at Lancaster. It's ballsy. But you guys are having fun, and I want to make sure that you keep the fun in archery. These guys
be
are
careful.
Yeah.
With that.
Why?
Because longbows are made out of wood. They're not going to stand up to being kicked across the floor.
Oh, jeez. Some people hold grudges that don't go away.
I don't hold a grudge. Santo's my homie, man. He didn't mean to do that. It was just a fluke accident. It didn't make any difference. I was going to fall on my face anyways.
All right. Sorry, guys. I'm kind of going here. We're almost done. Bear with us. Don't take off. Ryan wears Crocs. Does anyone else wear Crocs? The answer was probably
They're not
no.
allowed.
Really?
I think Mike Ellis wears Crocs.
In USA archery events, they're not allowed. So I just make a habit to not wear them.
Yeah,
Why can't you wear them?
12-year-old has a pair.
Really? Because I always think of you Midwestern guys as us Midwestern guys as having two pairs of Crocs. We have our wear around the house Crocs and our good going out in public Crocs. So I didn't know there would be shooting Crocs. Look forward to qualifying. Hope hanging with the boys at practice range. Hey, Justin, which do you look forward to, qualifying or hanging out with the boys at practice range? I don't think this is a good question for you guys. I think it's a cool question. You guys look forward to getting your shit done and getting the job done once you get there. But, do you appreciate the community, the barebow community, you guys?
For sure. Yeah. No, it's a blast. I mean, that's kind of what got me into the whole barebow thing versus trad here.
Yeah. Is that true? That's awesome.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, I shot on the line next to Yaka last year, so I was hanging with the bros and shooting qualification at the same time. So,
dude, that is such a weird relationship. You two, like, there's a weird.
Is it?
Okay, there's a yeah. It's weird. It's getting weird now. It's getting weird now. It's getting weird now. Dude, it's not just you though. It's also Matt and Melnick. So
me and Melnick too, buddy. It's a triangle.
Zernzak and Melnick. I just don't. It's uncomfortable now. It's getting uncomfortable. I love those guys. I just tease it, but it's really uncomfortable.
It's 2024. You need to accept us for who we are.
Yeah.
Point shooters or gay? I didn't know which one that was. My bad.
Matt, do you miss your stick bow?
I mean, I still have them, so I see them every day.
Yeah, I think you missed it, Dave. He said he had a hard time going back to shooting it after being with Bear, but you still love it though, right? You still love it?
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, yep. I try to pick one up and make it work every now and again.
Okay. All right. I think we're at the end of questions. I'll give it one more minute if you got a question. And while we're doing that, I just want to say thank you to archerypass.com who helps to sponsor this channel and makes this all possible. But I also want to thank these guys for showing up on the show today. It was kind of short notice for somebody, especially Robbie. Robbie's filling in for Yaka, who couldn't make it because he said he didn't like Jared. But that's not true. Sorry, I'm just kidding. It was Matt. He doesn't like Matt Hudson.
A lot of people don't like me. I don't know. I'm an asshole.
So I do want to give a quick shout out though. If you did tune in, and you're hoping to see Yaka and talk and listen to Yaka, you can get him on the Push Archery. There is a solid hour of good content. Now the interview's 2 hours long. Yeah,
2 hours.
It's not like I said. There's one solid hour of good content. The other hour is it gets off on a tangent
at work.
Yeah, it's a good one. Don't miss that. So if you get a chance. All right, guys, there isn't any more questions coming in. I think that we've spent a lot of time here today. And again, I just want to say thank you very much, Matt. Congratulations on last year. Looking forward to seeing you shoot again this year. And I know you'll do well. Jared, especially all your hard work is going to pay off this year, I believe. And Robbie, stop yawning. I'm talking to you. It's good. You're going to do good this year too. So I'm really pumped up about this. Our next conversation, our next interview live will be with some barebow outlaws. I'm setting up with Santo, so look forward to seeing that next week, everyone. Anything you guys want to say before we leave? Matt?
Not really. I wouldn't know what to say.
I love you, dude. I love you. I love you, dude. I love you so much. It's like we say in Canada, keep your mouth shut and throw bombs. Jared, anything?
Not really. Good luck. See you guys in a couple weeks, man. Looking forward to everybody getting together and slinging some arrows.
Pretty boy Robbie, what do you got?
Come say hi. I'll be around at all of them. Come say hi.
All right.
Just
Good
don't
night.
jump in the middle of Yaka and Robbie, and
don't get in between
don't
Yaka
get
and
in
Robbie.
the middle of that.
Don't do that. Don't do that. All right. We'll talk to you later, guys. Until then, hunt the good stuff. We'll talk to you soon.